what is mental wellness? Because you are working with a beautiful team and you're trying to build something meaningful, I'm sure there has been research on your side.
Mental wellness with my own research, and then it is one of the growing concerns for India, of course across the globe, but it is predicted that 1 in 7 Indians are suffering from mental health issues. This is going to cost India about $30 trillion by 2030. Okay, so it's a huge impact.
So Tranquil Mind was the startup that you guys found to solve this problem or this opportunity space of people suffering from mental health and not being able to do anything about it.
This mind and brain creates different types of environment for us. Having a true friend in life is a privilege. Okay? And it is to the audience, everyone, if you have someone, care for them. Unfortunately, 8 billion people in the world, maybe one person may have that true friend whom they can count on. Rest no one has.
Hi, I'm your host Pamela from Bangalore, India, and you're tuned into Season 2 of Transition Story. You're about to hear an enriching story driven by self-belief, passion, a lot of resilience, and personal growth. I'm so excited to welcome our next guest to the show.
We have the distinct honor and privilege of hosting Jayant Ghosh in the show today. And Jayant is from the mental wellness space. He is a co-founder of Tranquil Mind, a startup focused on building a companion app called Mitra.
Thank you.
And we'll have some interesting conversation about mental wellness, which is a very burning topic. And, a lot of economists have predicted that the next biggest startup in this ecosystem would be either on mental wellness or on sustainability. So
True.
It's a pleasure to have you here and to get the opportunity to discuss a lot of things.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Jayant, just for our listeners, Jayant has had an illustrious B2B career in sales, working in technology, starting from commodity sales, then moving into solution sales, and then pivoting into entrepreneurship. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your early years. I know you grew up in Meerut. You also stayed in Allahabad. So what was those early years and how those years really set the foundation of a salesman in you?
The early years, I have been, fortunately, I was born to my parents who were on transfer jobs. So I moved multiple cities. And that particular exposure got me to meet different types of people from different types of culture. And then that meeting and culture made me very much interested, the talking to people, understanding someone. So that became part of me. And when after graduation, the first thing was that, what to do next. But during the college years, I was doing something in sales, selling, maintain your lifestyle, fees.
For pocket money.
College fees, pocket money, and so on and so forth. So then I went into sales. And then the journey began.
So the natural progression was as a student. I recall you telling me that you were selling stalls in exhibitions.
Well, I've sold multiple things. My first job was selling water purifiers.
So commodities, core commodities.
Yes, house to house. Then exhibition stalls. Then some of the other sort of scenarios,
So a salesman was born in the very early years, foundational years in college, the desire to earn some extra money to fund your own life.
Education and life, yeah.
Education and life that led you to being attracted towards sales.
True.
Very early, I must say. And I think in those days, there was no ecosystem to choose between a sales career or a tech career. It is, you just find a job as your first job, you tend to do it.
Correct. Because that was the very early phase when the whole computer ecosystem was coming into existence.
Okay.
And if you go back to the history, we had only two professions. Either you get into engineering or you become a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also under engineering, they were limited.
Limited fields of study.
True. So one of my choice was to get into Indian defense. So I failed. So I said, okay, leave it. And then this is interesting. You're meeting people.
You're meeting people, you're getting to sell, you're making money. What else do you need to start your life?
Correct.
Yeah. So you started selling commodities, but there was a pivot that happened when you felt that commodity selling was no more giving you the high that you wanted to. So what was that situation that led you to move towards solution selling?
College days was a very different type of commodity, and then came, when you started, then you got into IT product selling. Okay.
So a business to business selling.
Business to business selling. Something could be, primarily, I would not say complete IT, but IT oriented, office oriented products. So there's not no much value addition which you can think of it. And then I was thinking that, okay, something to engage more with the customer and create your own mark. Then the shift started happening. People came and started doing something around softwares. And they said, this is much more interesting because there's a combination of software and a hardware.
So this was an era when actually the software market was also evolving.
Up, yes.
So you were able to be at the right place at the right time, selling the right thing.
Possibly, I'm lucky for that.
Yes.
But many people. So that's why then I said, okay, this is something which is more interesting, much more creative. And then it pushes you to think that what all you can do. This also made me realize one more thing is that, I'm talking about 2000s, okay, which was primarily the role of a technology head to decide what the company will use, okay, without any interference from the actual users, what they want. So there was a shift happening, and then, so suddenly from one team now you're able to meet multiple teams, which are going to be touching all this solution. That makes it much more interesting for me, okay. So that was the pivot, and after that, always solution, value-based selling.
Okay. So solution selling gave you this high about creating a larger impact through a solution, solving a problem. And you, of course, had stints catering to other markets also, right? Apart from India as a market. So that international exposure gave you some experience. What led you to really pivot into entrepreneurship?
So I have two failed startups, not to be talked much. But I was much more before we were thinking of developing something called as a marketing cloud. But that's supposed to be the future, okay, of marketing cloud. So that did not go well because we were much before time. Then we were talking about creating a B2B because, if you look at somewhere around 15, 16,
okay. 2015, 2016?
2015, 2016, 2018. The whole concept of this subscription came up into the picture.
Yeah, the SaaS. Software as a service and a subscription model.
Yes. So how about creating a marketplace to support this ecosystem? Okay, where a B2B buyer wants it. We become the mediator or aggregator, and on the other side is this as companies driving different types of business objectives. So that we was trying during the COVID, we were trying to do, and then COVID hit everything. Halted. But it always, tickled me that, okay, what next?
So you had that entrepreneurial bug biting you and trying to remind you, okay, what can I do to really solve a potential problem or create a larger impact?
True. And, something over there, which I personally think, sometimes you are in a situation or you get exposed to a situation, okay? You suddenly feel connected to that. That's something which you possibly may link into that when you go and watch a movie. Some movies will make you cry for some instant where the other person is not crying. So possibly that's a connection, emotional connection of that situation which is connecting with you. So I was thinking what? And then this topic came up to me, mental wellness, did my own research. And then it is one of the growing concern for India, of course, across the globe. But it is predicted that 1 in 7 Indians are suffering from mental health issues. This is going to cost India about $30 trillion by 2030. Okay, so it's a huge, huge impact. Gen Z and millenniums, which is the future of India, on an approximately 42% suffers from loneliness and stress.
Okay.
So these numbers are alarming, and these numbers has to be taken care of. People, we cannot, of course, there's a set of people who are suffering. So about 42 to 46% of Gen Z and millennium population of India, or 1.4 billion, is suffering from loneliness and stress. There's a set of people who are suffering. That is the 1 out of 7, But there are multiple type of people who knows they're suffering. Largely, a lot of people don't know what they're suffering.
There's less acknowledgement, less awareness about...
More than acknowledgement and awareness, I think comes the shyness.
Resistance to acknowledge.
Being a human being, we are going to be feeling stress. How you manage stress will define, will you fall in that 42, that 42 will go 43, or will still be in 52. So we're trying to do something that, which can ensure maintenance, preventive maintenance, as well as cater to the other crowd.
Okay. And that's how, so this desire to solve, or the research that you did on mental health, that led you to pursuing this journey and dedicating your career to finding this mental health startup called Tranquil Mind.
Tranquil Mind, yes.
So tell us a little bit about how Tranquil Mind is structured. Today you have other co-founders with you?
Oh, we are a beautiful co-founding team, and we complement each other on our strength, as well as we complement on each other on our weakness also, because there's somebody that is the strength. So there's a psychiatrist, there's a psychologist, and there's a tech. I come from business planning and strategy. So that makes us our team.
Excellent. So Tranquil Mind was the startup that you guys found to solve this problem or this opportunity space of people suffering from mental health and not being able to do anything about it, and the rest of people who might be borderline and maybe jumping to the other side, and preventive measures to make sure that they stay in their segment and not fall into that other bucket. Mental wellness as a subject, a lot of people are talking about it. But what is mental wellness? because you are working with a beautiful team and you're trying to build something meaningful, I'm sure there has been research on your side. Help us break it down for our audience on what mental wellness means.
In a very top level overview, if you think about a human species, the amphibians, we are guided by something which we call as mind and brain. Okay, this mind and brain creates different types of environment for us. Some of those ones which is very much visible is get covered under your normal healthcare. So you may find flu, fever. These are pretty visible scenarios, symptoms are there and so on and so forth. But the other side of the mind is keeping you as an individual, okay, which is doing the second part of it. If you don't keep this part, which is the core important part, working, supporting you, not letting you feel cold, not letting you feel flu, then we have to do this part. So mental wellness is taking care of your brain primarily, your way of thinking, your emotions. Okay, because this is going to impact largely to everyone. Everyone is suffering from some mental health issues. That is the fact of life. When you go to the detail of the type of mental disorders which is there. Thing is, do you know or you don't know? Okay, and if you know or if you don't know, are you okay to ask for help? So there's no shame. We have to forget the word called stigma, that mental health means somebody behind the bars in a chain, fighting, blah, 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 destructive. No. It could just be a conversation because that will uplift someone.
So, see, that's a nice segue into my next question. There is a lot of stigmatization, there is a lot of taboo associated with the word mental illness. Mental health is a better word to address it, but there is still, the moment the word mental comes, brain perceives it as a very big disorder.
True.
Right? So there is a synonymous perception.
True.
That, okay, mental means there is something wrong, seriously wrong with this person.
Correct.
Yeah, and hence there is little awareness or little consciousness among every individual to support the individual right next to you, or trying to even understand whether this person is suffering from mental illness. It could be parents talking to their children. It could be, kid understanding their parents' situation, teachers understanding students. You take up any segment of life, right? Or bosses understanding their team's mental health, and there's least prioritization. So on one side, there's high stigmatization and high negative aura associated with the word mental, and there is low adaptability, low acceptance. So there's huge gap, between acknowledgement, acceptance, resistance to acknowledge, and the stigmatization. People are trapped in between, right? So what will Tranquil Mind do, or what is your foundational goal to reduce this gap? Because the moment people normalize it, if somebody comes and tells me tomorrow at my work that, hey Pamela, I am not feeling mentally well and I need to take a break, I should be perfectly fine to acknowledge that and give that person a leave. Today, in category of vacations in workplace, you don't have a mental wellness break, right?
True.
Some companies really make it very fancy and they call, okay, Fridays we're giving one day extra off, take it a mental well, but it's not a practice. It's an exception. So what is Tranquil Mind aspiring to do in this space to bridge this gap and to remove the stigma associated with the word mental wellness?
Having a true friend in life is a privilege. Okay? And it is to the audience, everyone, if you have someone, care for them. Unfortunately, 8 billion people in the world, maybe 1% may have that true friend whom they can count on. Rest no one has. Okay? And that is what brings your two important umbrella, which is loneliness and stress.
Because you don't have a friend, you suffer from loneliness and stress.
So what we are trying to build, or what we're trying to offer, is filling that particular true friend concept through a companion, which is going to be in your pocket, where we will use technology, of course. Okay, that's what we're trying to build, is empathetic, friendly, coach behavior of a AI.
So you're using technology to create that friend who will be that companion that the person can rely on, relate to, talk to.
Yeah, relate to, talk to, when to take feedback as a coach sometimes. So this AI will keep changing its role depending upon the type of conversation. So primarily is empathetic, friendly, non-judgmental, but it's going to transform also into coach. This is going to be targeting to people first. Okay, and then comes all other things. That, okay, conversation will lead to how you're feeling for the day, or for that matter, I've been feeling X over the period. And that would say that, okay, possibly you have got anxiety. Possibility is that you have got depression, and there where we'll get human intervention. That, okay, stop at some place, technology for good, not technology for bad, and then move to the second level. This is going to be complemented or infused with another two technologies, which is AR and VR. Okay, and the third is neurosensory.
Okay.
So it's going to be a complete loop. Okay, so to relate for you and for the audience, today if you are unhealthy, if you go to a doctor, the doctor first asks from you, would we do 1 test, 2 tests, 100 tests? Their all objective is to find the root cause.
Correct.
Okay, and thereafter plan what should be the cure, care, medicine, blah, blah, blah. In mental health, there's nothing, you cannot go to a psychiatrist and say that, okay, I'm fear of height. And no psychiatrist will be ready to say, okay, let's go to Burj Khalifa. Let's walk up the staircase and tell me on which height you are scared. Okay, so that virtual reality can do that.
So AR and VR will give you that ability to simulate
the real world scenario, and this neurosensory, which is emotional catching when it's clubbed together, all three. So we are able to catch every individual's emotions when you start different situations, emotions, and thereafter show progress. So are you progressing or not progressing?
Okay, so this app that you're trying to launch will also have some devices attached to it that will help you catch these neurosensory.
So neurosensory would be a band, a separate band. VR headset would be the headset. AR would be used from the mobile itself. So they are the type of technology dependency is going to be there.
So there will be some wearables involved in the overall solution that you're providing. And I'm assuming from a business perspective, and you're the right guy to ask this question because you are complementing the business shoes in the overall founding body. So from a business perspective, I think India has 1.4 billion people. It's a great market to start with. But is it India for India or India for the world? What are you trying to build?
Made in India for India, then the world.
Very, very nice way to put it. And it's again a good segue to my next question. If it's made in India for India, stigmatization in this culture where we have 26, 27 states, different languages spoken, how do you think an entire 1.4 billion population is not in urban India?
True.
So how will you make your app reachable, approachable from those areas where mental health is a stigma and they are not on the urban India map?
The good part about urban versus rural. Rural India is much more open to talk.
Okay, and that's interesting.
This is across the states. All state government has their rural division and people are crowding over there. We will first go with English as a part of communication. And then, we will start adding different sets of languages for reaching different types of people. India itself is a struggle because, the way we speak English as a language, 27 dialects are there working in India.
The accent is different across states.
Okay. So our input method is going to be first text, then voice, and then video, where computer vision will also come to the picture. But yes, that will be very slow gradually. We'll start adding different languages to this.
Technology is on our side.
Technology is on side and it is advancing very fast. I don't know what we talk today may be stale for tomorrow.
You have seen the corporate world. You have been in different entrepreneurship boats, failed, in progress, and building something now. What would be your advice to any young guy who wants to look at entrepreneurship as a career? There's a lot of acceptability today in the families, in the society, about pursuing entrepreneurship as a career as opposed to 20 years back, right?
Yes.
And there is an ecosystem to support young minds. But entrepreneurial journey is filled with challenges, which I'm sure you and I can relate to because we've been through those journeys. What would be your advice to them if they want to start somewhere?
3 advice. Advice number 1 is, if somebody's talking to you about a problem, it is not a problem till the time you don't connect with the problem. Okay. Easy examples could be, read some of those early top founders who became the global famous, like for example, Uber, or for that matter, LinkedIn, or Twitter for that matter. The problem was for them getting a cab. They experienced it. They were late. So that's got Uber out. This is the market. Facebook also you consider. I cannot talk to my friends and share, in the college campus. That was the problem. So Facebook came up. Twitter, I want to know where's the global news happening. There's no way I can get that. So that became Twitter's problem. So till the time you don't connect with the problem, don't jump into the problem. Second would be that once you connect into the problem, then get into a deep dive on that. Okay, but don't focus on one problem. Okay, possibility will be always that you are connecting with a couple of problems. So deep down, go deep into it. And once you get deep, then try to think that, okay, do you have that particular knowledge? Do you have that particular skill? And if any of this is getting tick marked, then you have to find the right people who can fill up this. Okay. So then it could be 2 people, it could be 3, it could be as many, depending upon your caliber, your education, and so on and so forth. There are the 3 fundamentals I would say that, focus first.
Okay, that's very foundational advice, and I'm sure people listening to this will benefit from this. Now, my last question to you, Jen, before we let you go. When you started your journey, you of course had some vision for the company, Tranquil Mind. If we are having this conversation 5 years from now, what would we be talking about in the mental wellness space, and what impact would Mitra be creating in 5 years?
So interesting. I don't know the answer. Okay. We are driving, a very simple vision and a mission statement. Our vision is to make mental health care accessible and affordable. Our mission is that everyone should have the right to get mental health or wellness access. But our North Star for Mitra is how much we can get this empathetic AI actually empathetic.
The humanizing quotient of the solution.
Yes. So that is our North Star. I don't know, will we reach in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? It is going to be an ongoing process. I don't. But yes, that is what we want to drive.
So probably we can consider it as a 4-legged table that you're, aspiring to create, with the foundations as affordability, accessibility, and of course, the third one is approachability. Like it should be
Approachable
approachable to everyone, whoever wants it. Then, of course, you want to make sure that it is humanized to the highest order
level
possible,
yes.
right? So that is the foundational pillar on which Mitra is getting built. We wish the Mitra team all the best. And I hope when we have this conversation from a couple of years from now, again, you would be at a different milestone and we would be talking about different impacts that you're creating. This is such a noble cause, because I keep hearing in a lot of conferences that the next $1 trillion startup would be in the mental wellness space. And I'm so glad to speak to one such startup. So I wish Mitra all the best.
Thank you so much.
Wishing the Tranquil Mind team all the best, and wishing you all the best in your transition into this entrepreneurship journey. And I hope it becomes a success.
Crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you, Jayant, for coming over
Thank you
and
for
having
having
a
me.
conversation. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye.